All right, welcome back. And I want to welcome some people who are longtime friends of mine, at least within the YouTube universe. I'd like to think also, to some extent, beyond that, because we communicate offline. So those would be Lennon McCarthy and Swar the Immigrant, who are both longtime, I guess, followers of the same um, creators. I think both of them I met through the Hard News Network. So seems like my camera is not working today, but I guess you can imagine that it's pretty late here, and um, I want to get all of these ideas across before I start to drift off, because um, you know tomorrow is a working day. I'm sure many of you have things to get to. But we're going to cover a lot of the issues regarding some of the recently fallen figures in the media and entertainment who they attempted to use both their own political connections and their um, affiliations and maybe some of their identity issues in order to benefit their careers and pull the wool over the eyes of the public. And thankfully, I think that even within their own industries, the shameless disregard for integrity was so great that people said enough. And none of these people, I think, are really going to be able to make a comeback in the near future, at least. So I'd like you guys to please smash the like button. Share this stream. I know Swar the Immigrant said that he already has, so thank you for that. Please subscribe to the newsletter, because what I'm going to try doing, and this might not really affect you, but in order to spread this channel on Alt Tech and try to build up my following there, I'm going to start to actually create posts that are directed towards the topics of some of these videos and even the live streams, which in the past have been quite chaotic. So, other things I want to address. So, I do believe that you should subscribe to me on these alternative platforms, because I think that there's going to be more, um, more of a future there in terms of being able to reach new people. You don't reach that many new people on YouTube anymore. I remember in 2017 when I was really starting to go heavy on it, and uh, I was making some progress, albeit really modest progress, in getting new followers and getting some people who to this day continue to comment on the videos whenever I make them. And that's really what keeps me going, because I like to hear from people. I like to hear their opinions, because if somebody's been following you for 5 years, it sounds like they really get what you're trying to communicate. So unfortunately, it's hard to get more of those people on the mainstream tech websites, specifically YouTube. I don't use Twitter at all. I very seldomly use Facebook. Never used it for video hosting. So I believe that the future is on these alt tech platforms, and you should subscribe to me on BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey. And I personally have no preference which one. I've had the most success of all of them on BitChute. I personally prefer to use Odyssey whenever I can. And I know that there's a feud going on right now between Odyssey and Rumble, but I have no dog in that fight. I think it's really pointless, and I think that we have to learn how to support each other before we tear each other down in the face of this very powerful enemy, which is big tech. So basically, we've seen in the past few days the reaction to the Jussie Smollett verdict. There was before that, of course, the issue of um, the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. And that was something that was, of course, a huge firestorm, because there were many people who started to say after the Rittenhouse verdict that they did not know really some of the basic facts of the case, such as the race of the victims, the fact that Rittenhouse had not traveled from Illinois to Wisconsin specifically in order to take part in opposing the Black Lives Matter groups that were in Kenosha that night. As it happens, they were rioting, which people continue to deny. And in reality, even the person who testified against the Rittenhouse at the trial, Gage Grosskreutz, had to admit, because of camera footage, that that's what was happening. So that was a fake narrative that blew up. And along with fake narratives, there are sometimes fake fake people and fake icons, and the three that are really having their day, not really, well, their days of infamy, you could say, are Chris Cuomo, Alec Baldwin, and Jussie Smollett. And the reason that I think that those chickens are coming home to roost is because there's obviously there are protected classes within media and within politics, and those protected classes help to establish a hierarchy, right? And whether you believe any of the far-fetched theories that are out there, and some of them I think we have to give more than a little grain of salt to them, but we have right now proof of some of these things going on with the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Be that as it may, um, those hierarchies, whether they are merely benign or they have some sinister goings on behind them, they have people that they cast off too because they outlive their usefulness. And you can easily say that Alec Baldwin has outlived his usefulness, right? He was an actor for many, many years. He represented this sort of style that people uh, wanted to believe in. This person who he was really lampooning the so-called conservative establishment. If I remember correctly, his character on 30 Rock tended to be this very selfish businessman type, sort of the country club conservative. And I think he was a good actor, but beyond being a good actor, he was also a very pig-headed person. Still is a very pig-headed person. Thinks that he has more of a right to throw his weight around in public than anyone else. And you can see that from various videos that have been in the past, including, well, I'm just going to show a video of Alec Baldwin who assaulted somebody. This was a couple years ago. Let me see if I can pull up the display. So, no, not that one. Sorry about that. So you should see it in a second.
An alleged hostile scuffle caught on camera as Alec Baldwin, well known for his distaste of the paparazzi, propels a photographer on top of a parked car. Just days earlier, the 30 Rock star was snapped arriving at his New York apartment with wife Ilaria carrying his newborn baby girl. These new photos appear to show the angry actor pinning a photographer's arms behind his back.
You look fabulous.
Both Baldwin and the photog called 911. The star stated he was walking with his wife when the paparazzo got too close. Both parties aren't pressing charges.
You could probably blame the paparazzi. They're usually at fault. They usually get too close. But the problem is we've seen this time and again with Alec Baldwin.
Back in February, according to the New York Post, a reporter was trying to get a comment on a lawsuit involving wife Ilaria. The Post reports Baldwin became aggressive, grabbing the reporter by the arm, allegedly calling him a crackhead and a racially derogatory word. And this photo, published in the Daily News, was taken when Baldwin went to apply for his marriage license last June. He accused...
So you can see next thing I'm going to go to is his wife's fake accent.
Accused the photographer of bumping him with his lens. In a recent red carpet appearance, Baldwin addressed the shutterbugs.
Most of the paparazzi have their foot out to trip you. They want you to fall on the ground and they want to get that shot.
Now, a couple things here. Alec does say the paparazzi gets too close. That's something we've heard other celebrities complain about. Recently, Halle Berry and Jennifer Garner testifying in front of the California Assembly to get stricter laws protecting their children from photographers. Also, Alec does seem to get a little bit of a pass in these situations when we would be maybe more critical of other celebrities. Remember when Justin Bieber had a run-in with the paparazzi not too long ago? The questions seemed more like, look at Bieber's temper, not look at what the photographers were doing.
So I hope you guys can still hear me. Yeah, I didn't mute myself. So that was back in the day when CNN would actually, I think, report things a little bit more straightforward. Now here is his wife, Hilaria Baldwin. By the way, if she was actually Spanish in any way, it would be pronounced Iaria, not Hilaria, because when you have two L's next to each other in Spanish, it's the same sound as a Y in English.
Dion said to me, everything doesn't matter when they put that baby on you. I just want her to come now, trying to do some jumping jacks, pop her out, get her ready. Not really jumping jacks.
No, I like being a wife. I'm practicing. You know, in front of the mirror when you're alone, you just practice. Continue to say, Hilaria Baldwin, Hilaria Baldwin, Hilaria Baldwin.
How was it? Was it amazing?
You know what? And I'm not just saying this because it was my wedding, but it was the best party ever. Ever. I had like 35 or 40 of my family members come from Spain, which equals really good party. Really good party. It was just absolutely incredible.
Are you going to do, is there a honeymoon? Are we disappearing somewhere?
Well, we are, this is my honeymoon right now. This is my honeymoon. Teaching yoga is my honeymoon. No, we've taken a couple days just to relax, and then he has a couple of breaks from work, and in October I think we're going to go to España to see my family.
Oh,
He's
you're going to bring him
to
to
Spain.
He's never.
Well, we brought Spain to him for the wedding, but now he's got to go to Spain.
Oh, he's going to love it, I think.
He's going to love it. He's going to
There's
love
nothing like it out there.
it. Yeah, we'll see if we come back.
So?
I'm really surprised that you are asking me this. Give me some time, guys. Give me some time.
People share that I don't know about. You talked to him. You told him before you told me. We're having a baby. You extra people are. It's sickening.
Well, extra always knows everything first.
Just for.
We're having a baby. It was a surprise, a wonderful surprise. Married life is really nice. You know, it feels different. It really feels different. But I didn't think it was going to be different, but it feels quite different.
What's the thing that surprised you the most?
I think just the fact that it feels different. You know, we like to say husband and wife a lot.
Yeah.
I come husband.
Very few ingredients. We have tomatoes. We have how do you say it? Cucumbers. We have red pepper. We have, of course,
A guy got escorted off the plane because he was so
Tweeted
drunk.
that? What, you're like a reporter now? My God. The guy was having a few drinks on a plane.
He knew.
So yeah, that was Iaria Baldwin, and it's very fitting that someone as fake as her found a person as fake as Alec Baldwin. Before we do know that, Alec Baldwin, his real troubles stem from the shooting on the set of the movie Rust. And I was actually watching this interview. I didn't watch it from the beginning. My wife had it on the TV, and so there's the part where he talks about shooting Helena Hutchins, and I thought it was pretty ridiculous. I mean, it was. I want to find the exact part. Here we go. So that it should be here on this Entertainment Tonight clip. And you can see that this is an instance where somebody is clearly trying to put one over on the public because they feel that the hatred that they get from something that they did that they know is wrong That's really what they think is the problem, not the fact that they took somebody's life, accident if it was. I mean, that's not really what's bothering them, whether it was guilt or that it was an accident. What's bothering them is that people are blaming them for something for which they're obviously to blame.
She was someone who was loved by everyone who worked with and liked by everyone who worked with and admired.
An emotional Alec Baldwin visibly shaken during an interview with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos. Their conversation will air in full on Thursday, December 2nd, but on Wednesday, the network released a clip of what's to come.
You haven't said much in public since that tragic accident. Why speak out now? I think the big question, and the one you must have asked yourself 1,000 times, how could this have happened?
It's the actor's first sit-down since the October tragedy on the set of Rust, when Baldwin reportedly fired a prop gun that accidentally killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins and wounded director Joel Souza. An investigation into the shooting is ongoing. During the interview, Baldwin denies claims that he pulled the trigger that fired the fatal shot.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
What did you think happened?
The actor raises questions about how the live bullet got on the set in the first place.
How did a real bullet get on that set?
I have no idea.
So you can see some of the, some of the pre-interview marketing here, and I didn't get the actual clip that I wanted to, but basically he went through some sort of absurd explanation where he said that Helena Hutchins had been telling him that he should hold the gun in a certain way, that he should continue to cock it and move the hammer back, and it sounded to many people like he had been worn down in terms of his patience with her, and he simply released the hammer and shot Helena Hutchins. Now, there were a number of gun experts, people with better knowledge than I, who pointed out that the model of Colt 45 revolver that he was using could not have been fired using the hammer release. It would have had have been the trigger, because there are a number of notches that catch the hammer when they're pulled back. So I guess we will find out in court proceedings who exactly was correct. But his statement in the interview, where Stephanopoulos asked, "Do you feel responsible for this?" And I remember him saying that he knows that somebody was at fault for this, but the one thing he knows is that it's not him, and that's the mark of somebody who can't see that they're responsible for the predicament they're in, and it really takes I guess a strong man or an honest man to admit when they've done something completely wrong and that it's their fault, rather than merely posture for sympathy the way that Alec Baldwin did. And he even said during the interview he doesn't want to be casting himself as the victim, but throughout the interview he was acting as if he was trying to seem like the victim, using his emotional demonstrations and everything. And many people were talking about it. I didn't have time last week. It was a very busy week, both at work, and we have a number of issues at home. But uh, we did see this, and it was a shocking interview, to say the least, for us. Obviously, the next person who we want to talk about is Chris Cuomo. Now, I do want to pause a little bit from reading anything and say that you can still vote in the poll that I put up. And granted, it's not exactly a scientific poll, because most of you, I know your opinions anyway. But currently, this small poll has Jussie Smollett leading. And it says, of these examples, who do you think has the least integrity? So I personally, I voted for Alec Baldwin. Somebody apparently voted for the transgender swimmer from University of Pennsylvania, Leah Thomas. Nobody voted for Chris Cuomo. My opinion of why people are not going to vote for Cuomo is that he is deemed to be so transparently fake and so shamelessly without integrity that nobody really expects him to have any standards. This is a guy who actually said in 2016 that viewers could not read the WikiLeaks memos that had been distributed about the Hillary Clinton State Department because it was illegal, but journalists could. So that was an legal opinion, or not even legal opinion, but legal information that Chris Cuomo put out as a lawyer on CNN. That was one of the most ridiculous opinions at the time, and he certainly followed that up with many other and outrageous behavior of his own. I think for Chris Cuomo, to look at some interesting clips of things that he said, I think we'll have to go back to the Fredo clip. So that was an amazing moment. Yeah, here we go. So this is from Inside Edition. Sorry I didn't prepare any clips today ahead of time.
That's CNN anchorman Chris Cuomo lashing out at a Trump supporter who insulted him.
I'll throw you down these stairs like a punk.
What was the big insult? The guy called him Fredo.
Don't insult me like that. I didn't insult you. You called me Fredo. You know my name's not Fredo.
He's referring, of course, to Fredo Corleone, the loser brother from The Godfather.
I can handle things. I'm smart. Not like everybody says. Like dumb, I'm smart, and I want respect.
For Cuomo, whose big brother Andrew is the governor of New York State, it's a big-time slur.
Fredo is from The Godfather. He was that weak brother. Isn't that your brother? And they use it as an Italian aspersion. Any of you Italian? Are you Italian? It's an insult to your people. It's an insult to your people. It's like the N-word for us.
The video is going viral today to the delight of the president, who is no fan of Cuomo's.
What Chris Cuomo did was horrible. His language was horrible. He looked like a total out-of-control animal. He lost it.
CNN says Cuomo's rant was justified. Chris Cuomo defended himself when he was verbally attacked with the use of an ethnic slur in an orchestrated setup, the network said in a statement. We completely support him. He's also getting support from an unexpected source, his TV rival, Sean Hannity from Fox News. I say good for Chris Cuomo, Hannity tweeted. He's out with his 9-year-old daughter and his wife, and this guy is being a jackass.
Go take a swing. You want to call me Fredo? Take a swing.
Also on Team Cuomo, Anthony Scaramucci, the former White House communications director who now co-hosts the podcast Mooch and the Misses.
My heart goes out to him because he got ambushed. There was obviously a camera on him. They said something they thought would trigger him. He was around his young children, and he got defensive.
Cuomo is now speaking out, saying he regrets losing his cool. I should be better than the guys baiting me, he tweeted. No need to add to the ugliness.
I'll throw you down these stairs like a punk.
So that was the Fredo clip. There's actually, I think he actually was inserted into the Godfather footage where John Cazale plays Fredo Corleone. I think. Let me see if I can.
I'm afraid Chris Cuomo losing.
The video surfaced on a right-wing YouTube channel, causing some to suggest Cuomo was set up. But it was his insistence that calling an Italian-American person Fredo,
it's like the N-word for us,
that generated a very public debate about ethnic slurs. The actress Mia Farrow tweeted, "For that insult, I bet Frank Sinatra would have punched your false teeth out." Phil Folia of the Italian American Legal Defense Fund said it didn't rise to the level of the N-word, but called the mob reference ethnic defamation.
I mean, I would be personally offended if somebody called me Fredo. Clearly, it's an ethnic slur. I would have reacted the same way.
Fordham professor Dr. Kathleen LaPenta, director of the Bronx Italian American History Initiative, told CBS2 that calling someone Fredo certainly seems to carry the weight of a bad stereotype, and that, as Chris Cuomo's reaction suggests, sparks a strong reaction.
Chris Cuomo was out of control. Anybody that would have seen Chris Cuomo would have said that was a disgrace.
All right, so I don't really intend this to be really about Trump. I know some of you brought him up in the chat, and the fact is that so much of this connects to Trump because like the three people involved here, they all seem to have had very anti-Trump opinions and beliefs and at least professed affiliations. They were very much against him. But the truth is that I think was a smokescreen for their own insecurities, right? So they're not very sophisticated people. To call Chris Cuomo, I mean, we already went through Alec Baldwin, who I don't think is a very deep thinker himself. He may be a great actor, and being a great actor, particularly in the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, which I think was a masterpiece, it's absolutely a skill, and I think it should be respected. But it certainly does not lead to you being a brilliant mind in terms of politics or anything else, as we see from a number of actors and singers, from Bette Midler to Deborah Messing and what's that lady's name? Alyssa Milano. I know I'm mentioning a lot of ladies, but there's the guy T.J. Miller from Silicon Valley. I think he's an idiot. You have Seth Rogen, who is supposedly also a comedian, and it doesn't translate well. And I think personally, with regards to Chris Cuomo, that calling him Fredo is much too kind to him, because there are instances, right, where in the movies, the Godfather movies, right, the Cuomo, the Fredo character is meant to be like the weak link brother, but it was masterfully played by John Cazale, who was the foil to Al Pacino, who plays Michael Corleone. I actually was watching a Pacino film earlier with my wife, and I happen to be a Pacino fan. She's not so much of a Pacino fan. But John Cazale, when he was in those movies, The Godfather 1 and 2, and also in Dog Day Afternoon, and a few other films. Let me see. I think he was in Deer Hunter too. It says that he was, yes, he was in Deer Hunter, which was opposite Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken. And apparently he also had a relationship with Meryl Streep. He was a brilliant actor, and he could bring out that very nervous energy in these characters that were insecure. Whereas if you look at somebody like Chris Cuomo, it's not really acting. It's somebody who is plainly insecure. He would say things on the air. For example, when there was that idiotic clip where Donald Trump was giving some sort of address, and he had to pick up, I think it was a bottle of water, and he used two hands instead of one. They made some huge deal out of it, that it showed that maybe he had deteriorating motor skills, or that he was losing it neurologically. And Cuomo, you know what? Let's see if I can find that clip. We'll see what he does. I think that's it stands as one of the dumbest clips I've seen of him. I don't think I can find it, but what happened at the time was that he was complaining that Trump had basically used his hands to drink a glass of water it might have been a bottle of water. And then he said that he can pick up a whole vase of water in his one hand and drink it like that, and it was ridiculous. It was still when he was on New Day with Allison Camerata, and that was the type of news quality that Chris Cuomo gave, and that's why I would say that that's the type of era that we were through in terms of quality of programming. Having people like Chris Cuomo on the air, I think, made viewers dumber. I know people who watch CNN, and sometimes I can't believe that they're able to deceive themselves that this is what real news and information is about. A network like CNN. So that's as far as him. Let me take a look at the chat real quick. I'd like to hear feedback if you have any. I know Swarthy is one of the best people for like nice off-color remarks. But we have Larry here as well, so we have some good competition. Larry says, yeah, and HRC could open her own pickle jars. I forget what that means, but I hazard to guess.